Namaste. Yesterday somebody asked a beautiful question that why I am born in a certain family. What is it that leads me to take birth in a certain family? And then what is it that triggers separation from the family? And how to find my Ishta Devta? So all these questions I have answered in this podcast. So let's begin. Birth happens. How does it happen? What leads to your birth in a specific family? What is a family? Family is a group of souls that in some way or the other have been on the same level of consciousness. Mohan asked, but sometimes a man or a woman leaves the family and sets on his or her own way. That is right. It simply means that now his or her consciousness level has either risen above the consciousness level of his family or has fallen below the consciousness level of his family. In both situations, such a man or woman can no longer stay with the family. They move out. It is the state of consciousness that decides the whole course of your birth and rebirths. Choice always comes your way. You have to make a choice. Every choice that you make goes on shaping your destiny. To make a good choice, you have to raise your awareness, consciousness. You may leave your family if your consciousness level has risen above the level of your family members, and you may also leave your family if your consciousness level has fallen below the consciousness level of your family members. The first one is a positive development, the other is a negative development. A soul takes birth based on his or her consciousness level. There is nobody in the cosmos who directs the soul to take birth in a specific family. The soul finds its own way based on its consciousness level. It selects or is dragged or moved towards a certain family, a certain womb. So everything happens naturally based on the stages of consciousness. The soul comes exactly into a family whose Ishta Devta the soul has been worshipping for many past births. Accidents happen. Similarly, accidental births also take place where the Ishta Devta of the family and the Ishta Devta of the soul happens to be different. In that case, as mentioned earlier, when time comes, the individual moves out on his own. His understanding and his consciousness are not in match to that of his family. Many such real-life scenarios are in existence. Swami Vivekananda also left his family to seek the spiritual path. Souls, individuals who leave their families to seek the truth, the ultimate consciousness, God consciousness, such souls or individuals evolve into beautiful beings. The negative are those men and women who move out of their families out of ignorance, ego. Their agenda or purpose of leaving the family is their own selfishness, greed, and the lust for more and more material benefits. Such men or women generally fall from grace. But those souls or individuals who have simply stepped out of the family to seek spiritual path, to experience God, to find answers through which they can serve the people selflessly, such souls are blessed with grace. They keep moving on until their journey becomes the destination. Once it happened, I was traveling through the mountains of Sahyadri when I met a very old man, a yogi, and he was seated beneath a tree. I went to him, bowed before him. We talked for a while. The old man seemed to have liked me. He said, I will tell you a story, my life story. I said, I will be blessed to listen to your life story. Please tell me. The old yogi said, I was born in a very wealthy family. I was doing my engineering when I met Sridhar Swami, the disciple of Samartha Ramdas Swami. Sridhar Swami was a very great yogi, a man of miracles, and his peace, his bliss, his joy, his smile. The very first time I met him, I lost myself. I completely lost myself. I decided to spend my whole life at his feet. My family members were also his devotees. My father, my mother, they also loved him. But I was the only son, the only heir to their empire of luxuries and many pleasures, and so they wanted me to marry. Then what happened? I asked. The old yogi smiled. He said, I told them I will not marry. I don't want to marry. I have taken to celibacy and I have started fasting on every Ganesh Chaturthi. Now don't force me into marriage. So did they agree? I asked. The old yogi smiled and said, do you think they would give up so easily? I asked, so what did they do? They went to Sridhar Swami and started complaining about my attitude towards marriage, my decision of not indulging in marriage. Sridhar Swami smiled at them. Swamiji's way of speaking was very gentle and soft, but his words were so powerful that they would move the mountains. And so Swamiji looked at my father and mother and said, your son has taken to celibacy for the betterment of the people. If you force him into marriage, you will be responsible for your debacle, and then even I would not be in a position to help you. Let him do what his heart wants to do. I cannot stop him. You also should not stop him. After that day, said the old yogi, nobody stopped me. I left all those riches and pleasures and moved away from them towards my master. I never met them again. I don't even remember what happened to them. I was so much engrossed in my penance. But wherever they are, they must be in good shape. When the consciousness is no more the same as your family, when the consciousness has risen above, you will move out of your family to seek that which cannot be bought in the market, to seek that which cannot be earned, cannot be stolen, cannot be shared, but can only be realized through your own self-realization. Remember, the deeper the self-realization of a man, the more he influences the whole universe by his subtle spiritual vibrations, and the less he himself is affected by the phenomenal flux. It is your self-realization that can help you to identify with your Ishta Devta. Generally, the Ishta Devta of the family happens to be the Ishta Devata of the individual who is born in that family. That is the reason that I always emphasize on focusing on the family deity, that is Kuladev and Kuladevi. Samartha Ramdas Swami, the Guru of Shivaji Maharaj, has specifically mentioned that every individual should first worship and remember his or her family deity, that is Kuladev and Kuladevi. But people don't get it. They run from one temple to the other. Many are not even aware of their family deities. Some know the god but don't know who is the goddess. Some know the goddess but don't know who is the god. Before the British rule, Hindu families all over the Indian subcontinent were aware of their family deities, that is Kuladev and Kuladevi. But then came the British rule, and the changing lifestyle and demands created a gap. Today, this gap has become the primary reason for many Hindu families who are lost, simply lost. They don't know their family deities, Kuladev and Kuladevi. They keep visiting hundreds of temples, but nothing happens for good. How will it happen? When you are knocking on the wrong door, when you are dialing the wrong number. The right door is the door of your family deity. The right number to connect is your family deity's number. That is your Kuladev and Kuladevi. But people are shallow. People are relating everything with astrology, and that is where they go on missing. Astrology should not become a trap, should not become a blockage to your free will. But that is what is happening, and it is very unfortunate. God cannot be found by your logic. God cannot be realized by astrology. God cannot be understood by your calculations. If you really want to understand God, then life has to be loved because it is divine. Life has to be affirmed with your total being because God is hidden in it. God is another name for life, another name for love. Life is to become your God, then whatever life implies becomes divine. And so I appeal to you all that stop identifying everything through the narrow glasses of astrology. Let your vision be wider. Throw away those narrow glasses and look up in the sky, that is in your consciousness, and the solution, the answer will be found. Identification or identifying is totally based on your perception. The deeper you move within, the more you can identify with the real problems of your life, the real hurdles to your growth. Krishna has provided with the most significant key that can help every conscious individual to attain self-realization. What is that key? It is called swadharma. Following your self-nature is self-religion. In the Gita, Lord Krishna asks Arjuna to follow swadharma, which is self-religion. Swa is a Sanskrit word meaning self, and dharma means religion. Swadharma has nothing to do with the religion you follow. It simply has to do with your self-nature. To reach your own self-nature is the only religion. To become that which you are is the only religion. That is why Krishna has emphasized Swadharma, self-religion. Self-religion or swadharma has nothing to do with religions. The real meaning of swadharma is that you settle into your own nature. Self-nature, your consciousness becomes your Ishta Devta, your religion, your God. And it is this consciousness that finally leads you towards the beyond, the unseen God. Consciousness is the greatest Ishta Devata, but human beings need some support of the idol, of a certain form, certain God who himself has become the ultimate consciousness. Krishna consciousness, Jesus consciousness, Shiva consciousness. You see, that is how God becomes the bridge for you to move towards consciousness, because God is the ultimate fragrance of your consciousness. For many, the family deity is itself the Ishta Devata. You are born into a family that worships the God or Ishta Devata that you have been worshipping in your past births. So the first step is to first worship the family deity Kuladev and Kuladevi. Then the way ahead manifests before you when the time is right. Many times, when the soul has accidentally taken birth in a family whose family deity is not matching to his or her Ishta Devata, then when they continue to worship the family deity, someday, at some point in their life, they themselves self-realize who is their Ishta Devata. But in general, the family deity is the Ishta Devata, and even if you continue to worship the family deity, it is more than enough. Along with Ishta Devata, you should also devote yourself towards the compassionate Guru, the Master. To be with the Master is to be with the presence. To be with the Master is to be here now. And to be here now in this moment is meditation. And so when you are with your Master, when you are remembering Him every minute of your life, every breath of your life, then where is the need to take any special efforts to meditate? Meditation happens on its own. Everything starts happening on its own. The Ishta Devata is also found in His presence. Then all the gods and goddesses are also found in His presence. Once it happened, Sai Baba was alone in Shirdi, and a very close devotee remained with him. Sai Baba said, "Why you stayed behind when the whole village has gone to seek the blessings of Lord Shiva?" The devotee's eyes were filled with tears. Looking at Sai, he said, "Baba, my Shiva is you. I could see him in your presence. I could feel him in your presence. Then what is the need to go anywhere?" Sai Baba smiled. Lovingly he nodded his head, and a certain fragrance emerged through his presence. The devotee said, "These are the same incense sticks that I had given to the villagers to instill at the Lord Shiva's temple." Incense sticks were instilled and burned 1,000 miles away from Shirdi, and yet its fragrance was coming through the omnipresence of Sai Baba. How to express such a beautiful incident? Language is really poor. Words cannot suffice. One has to go through all kinds of experiences that life provides with. It is through experiences that you evolve, so never be afraid of any experiences. Man learns through experience, and the spiritual path is full of different kinds of experiences. He will encounter many difficulties and obstacles, and they are the very experiences he needs to encourage and complete the cleansing process, says Sai Baba. The greater the cleansing process, the greater is the growth within. Family changes from birth to birth because as your level of consciousness changes, so does your birth destinations. When you spend your life with more ignorance and less consciousness, your next birth is of inferior level. When you spend your life with more consciousness, expanded consciousness, then your next birth is of a superior level. And so, based on the state of your level of consciousness, your father and mother, your wife or husband, your friends, your overall quality of life keeps changing from birth to birth. But what remains the same is your Ishta Devta, your Guru, your Lord. In simple words, if you fail, that is, if you live in ignorance, you remain in the same standard. If you pass, that is, if you live with consciousness, you move to the next standard. This cycle continues. Many have fallen and many have graduated. And those who have graduated have become the greatest saints that the world had ever known. But people are shallow. They say, those men or women who become saints, yogis, they all must be extraordinary. Shallow people categorize the evolved beings in a separate category. This is what we have done with Buddha, Mahavira, Patanjali, Kabir, Adinatha. We have put them in a separate category. They are special people. We are ordinary people. But they were also ordinary before they took the jump. It is the jump that has made them extraordinary. Not that they were extraordinary, hence they could jump. The reality is vice versa. It is necessary to remember that the evolved beings were also at some point in their life as ordinary as you and I are. But then what transformed them from ordinary to extraordinary? Courage. Courage to jump into the unknown. Worshipping Hanuman brings courage, and it is this courage that enables you to jump, to risk. The most beautiful way to worship Hanuman is to recite the Hanuman Chalisa. Every line of the Hanuman Chalisa is a Mahamantra, says Neem Karoli Baba. Hanuman Chalisa, it is a miraculous devotional stotra written in praise of the monkey god Lord Hanuman, and it is written by one of the greatest saints in the Indian civilization, Saint Tulsidas. His divine words have touched the hearts of millions and continues to inspire. I humbly prostrate before one of the greatest devotees of Lord Hanuman, Saint Tulsidas. The beauty of the divine devotional verse of Hanuman Chalisa is that it brings great courage to you. You suddenly become very courageous and strong like the god Hanuman who carried a mountain in his hands. And courage is very important. You cannot propose a girl if you have no courage. You cannot propose to God if you have no courage. The door to love opens only when you have courage to express your love. The door to God also opens only when you have courage to meditate and express your devotion. Meditation is possible only when you are courageous. Only a courageous man, a courageous woman can meditate. When you sit with closed eyes, what happens? Millions and millions of thoughts engulf you, create a lot of noise. You feel as if thousands of bees are buzzing all over your head. Now tell me, can a coward continue to sit? He or she will quickly get up. They will never dare to meditate again. But a courageous man, a courageous woman, they will not give up. They will let all those thoughts come and go. They will treat those thoughts as visitors. They will not entertain those thoughts. They will show tremendous courage by ignoring the thoughts and focusing on the breathing, by focusing on the God's name. And so to meditate, one needs to be courageous, and to be courageous, one needs to be truthful. You see how all it is interconnected, and unless you understand and self-realize the interconnections, you will not realize the way it all happens. Everything is interconnected. This whole universe is interconnected. The only difference is that the switch is not on. The moment the switch is on, you too will start realizing the interconnection. You too will start realizing that you are not separate from this universe. You too will start realizing the oneness, Advait, that everything is one Paramatma, oneness. All differences in this world are of degree and not of kind, because oneness is the secret of everything, says Swami Vivekananda. Ishta Devta or Kula Devta, all the devatas and all the gods are simply to help you move towards oneness. And always remember, before the God comes first the Guru. Through the Guru, all the gods of this whole universe can be experienced. But before all the gods comes first the benevolent, compassionate Guru. Sant Kabir says, if here before me stand both my Guru and Govind the Almighty, I would first prostrate before my Guru, because it is He who revealed to me the Govind. Gods will come only when you have the blessings of the Guru, the benevolent Master. Without the Guru, nothing is possible. With the Guru, everything is possible. The first birth is through the mother. The second, the true birth, the spiritual birth to which Jesus calls reborn, is through the Master. And it is only when you are reborn that God can be experienced, truth can be experienced, love can be experienced. The way towards the beyond, the journey within begins only when you are blessed by the benevolent, compassionate Guru. You never have to find your Guru. The Guru finds you. It is the Guru who chooses his disciple. When you live with faith, with love, with compassion, and when the thirst to find Him grows within your whole being, so much so that you cannot remain without Him, He comes. When you are ready, the Master always comes. You need not go in search of Him. He will come in search of you. Always remember this. The Guru will come in search of you. Peter the fisherman never had to go in search of Jesus. Jesus came to him. Arjuna never had to go in search of Krishna. Krishna came to him. Sariputta never had to search Buddha. Buddha came to his town. The Master comes when you are ready, when you have become a full moon, when you are willing to surrender yourself, when you are ready to live your life in total surrender. That is the word, a miraculous word, surrender. Unless there is surrender, there is no coming to the truth. There is no coming to the Master. The whole story of your life swings from one point of ego to the other point of total surrender. You all should ask yourself on which side you are. The side you decide to be with shapes your life. What you choose is what you become. What you follow is what you become. It all begins with you. It is the conscious choices that you make in your life that matters above all. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. A life lived by choice is a life of consciousness and a life worth living. Meditate and chant every day. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.